Not just a familiar tune, but a deep, resonant sound that speaks to the very soul of a place. In a quiet, forgotten village nestled between misty mountains, there was such a sound, but it had been lost for so long. Most people only knew it from whispered stories. This is the tale of that village, and of a young boy named Leo who refused to let the silence win. Our story begins in Eldoria, a village that was once vibrant and full of life. Its heart was a great bronze bell that hung in the central tower. Its chime wasn't just for telling time. It was a celebration, a comfort, a call to come together. It rang 4 harvests, 4 weddings, for the turning of seasons. They called it the heartbeat of Eldoria. But one stormy night, a fierce gale tore through the valley. The ancient tower crumbled, and the bell was lost, swallowed by the rubble and the encroaching forest. Years turned into decades without the bell's song. The spirit of Eldoria faded. The vibrant colors of the village square turned to muted grays. Laughter became rare, and the communal fires that once burned bright were now just embers. The elders would tell stories of the bell's magical chime, of how it could make the crops grow taller and the villagers' hearts feel lighter. But to the younger generation, like Leo, it was just a fairy tale, a myth from a bygone era. Leo was a curious and determined boy. He spent his days exploring the woods that bordered the village, his imagination filled with the legends of the lost bell. He didn't believe it was magic. Not really, but he did believe that something important had been lost along with it. He saw the sadness in his grandmother's eyes when she spoke of the old days. He saw how his neighbors kept to themselves, their shoulders stooped as if carrying an invisible weight. Leo believed that finding the bell could change everything. He decided to start his search where the old tower once stood. Now, it was just a Muscovite ruin, a stone skeleton reclaimed by nature. Villagers avoided the place. They said it was haunted by the memory of what they'd lost. But Leo wasn't afraid. Armed with a small shovel and an unwavering sense of purpose, he began to dig. He dug 4 days, his hands blistering, his muscles aching. He found old bricks, twisted metal, and shards of pottery, but no bell. The other children mocked him, calling him Belshazzar Leo, but he ignored them. One afternoon, just as he was about to give up, his shovel struck something hard. Not the dull thud of a rock, but a deep, metallic thrum that vibrated up the handle and into his bones. His heart pounded. It dug faster, his hand scooping away the soil with frantic energy. Slowly, a curve of green patinated bronze emerged from the earth. It was huge, far bigger than he had imagined, covered in dirt and tangled in roots. It was the heartbeat of Eldoria. He had found it. But his joy was short-lived. A single boy couldn't possibly move a bell of this size. He ran back to the village, his face flushed with excitement. "I found it. I found the bell," he shouted, running through the dusty streets. A few people looked up from their work, curious but skeptical. He led them to the ruins, and a collective gasp went through the small crowd as they saw the great bronze shape, half buried in the ground. For the first time in years, a spark of excitement flickered through Eldoria. The sight of the bell, real and tangible, awoke something in them. The village blacksmith, a gruff man who hadn't smiled in years, examined the bell. "It's tarnished and dented," he said, running a calloused hand over its surface. "But the core is strong. It can be restored." His words were a challenge, and the villagers rose to meet it. What followed was something Eldoria hadn't seen in a generation. Teamwork. The men worked together, using ropes and levers to carefully excavate the bell from its earthen grave. The women brought them food and water, their chatter and encouragement a forgotten melody. The children, who had once mocked Leo, now helped clear away debris, their eyes wide with wonder. It was a slow, arduous process. They built a sturdy wooden sled to drag the immense bell back to the village square. Every pull, every heave, was a shared effort. It was more than just moving a piece of metal. They were pulling their community back together. Once the bell was in the square, the real work began. The blacksmith fired up his forge, its orange glow lighting up the evening. He and his apprentices worked tirelessly, hammering out the dents, their rhythmic strikes echoing where silence had reigned. Others polished the bronze, scrubbing away decades of dirt and tarnish. As they worked, the bell's surface began to gleam. reflecting the faces of the villagers' faces filled with a new and unfamiliar emotion. Hope. Leo was there every step of the way, polishing, helping, and watching the transformation not just of the bell, but of his home. Finally, the day came. A new, smaller but stronger tower had been built from the stones of the old one. With a great, coordinated effort, the villagers hoisted the restored bell into place. The entire village gathered in the square, their faces turned upward, a silent anticipation hanging in the air. The mayor looked at Leo and nodded, handing him the rope. This was his moment. With trembling hands, Leo took the thick rope. He pulled. At first, there was only the creak of the mechanism. Then, a low hum began to build. He pulled again, harder this time. And then it happened. A clear, powerful chime rang out, soaring over the rooftops, across the fields, and echoing off the misty mountains. It was a sound of pure, unadulterated joy. It was deeper and richer than anyone remembered. It wasn't magic, but it felt like it. A wave of emotion washed over the crowd. The elders wept openly, their tears not of sadness, but of profound relief and happiness. Younger villagers who had never heard the chime felt a strange, powerful connection to their ancestors and their home. Children laughed and danced in the square. That single chime broke the spell of silence and apathy that had held Eldoria for so long. From that day on, the bell rang every day. It rang to wake the village, to call the children to their lessons, and to gather everyone for evening meals. The community fires were relit, and stories and songs once again filled the night air. The village bloomed. People started painting their houses in bright colors again. They planted flowers in their gardens. The sound of the bell was a constant reminder of what they had accomplished together. It wasn't just a bell anymore. It was a symbol of their resilience, their unity, and the bright future they were building. And what of Leo? Wasn't Host Bell Chaser Leo anymore? Was a hero, but he never saw it that way. He knew he hadn't saved the village alone. He had simply been the one who dared to dig, the one who refused to accept the silence. He showed everyone that sometimes all it takes is one person's hope to awaken the hope in everyone else. The heartbeat of Eldoria was not just in the bronze bell, but in the collective heart of its people, beating strong and true once more. Thank you so much for watching this story today. If it resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe for more tales of hope and community. Let us know in the comments what sound feels like home to you. Until next time, keep listening for the music in your own life.